Rajeev Chandrasekhar.
Thank you, Vasanti, for that warm welcome. Vasanti is an old friend, so I think thank you for that warm introduction. Debjani Ghosh from NASSCOM, my colleagues in the Government of India, ladies and gentlemen, delegates, the 119 startups from around the world that have descended on my city, my hometown of Bengaluru. A warm welcome to all of you, and as we say in Bengaluru, ellarigu namaskara, welcome, namaste. I think this is very appropriate that we are having a conversation with all of you from around the world about innovation, how important it is, what the future for innovation will look like. And it is appropriate that we do so under the Indian G20 presidency. It is appropriate that we do it in a city like Bengaluru, a city that in a lot of ways represents the present and the future of the digital economy. It is a city with great tradition, a great heritage, a great past. It also has a very exciting today and an even more exciting tomorrow, as we think India too has. So welcome, and I hope the delegates and the visitors to Bengaluru will have some time to visit, shop, experience this beautiful city as we talk about digital innovation. Bengaluru is appropriate because it is certainly one of the epicenters of the Indian digital economy, the Indian innovation ecosystem. And we have startups in Bengaluru that range from space, semiconductors, artificial intelligence, the consumer internet, the future of the internet with Web3, the entire spectrum of what we consider innovation and what we consider the future of technology is being innovated in Bengaluru by young startups from across all over the country. And in a lot of ways, it is extremely appropriate that we have this conversation of digital innovation here in Bengaluru. So I certainly don't want to make a long speech, but I certainly would like to take this opportunity to share some thoughts with you. I will say this, we can all be in agreement that we are living in extremely interesting times. And the word interesting can be defined by different people to mean different things. But at the heart of any definition of what this interesting time means is the fact that, or our acknowledgement that the pace of digitalization of our lives, of our governments, of our enterprises, of our citizens is accelerating at an unprecedented pace. Never before in the history of modern mankind have we seen this pace of digitalization and this pace of innovation in its wake. And I would present to you with great respect and humility that India certainly is a preeminent nation in how we have adapted technology, not just for innovation in a broader sense, but to deliver real solutions that have transformed people's lives, transformed governance, transformed democracy in the last few years. As I said, this digitalization, this pace of digitalization means we are now looking at every citizen, every consumer consuming digital products or services, whether it is Insta Reels or DPIs that connect them to the government and governance, or using the cloud, and all of those upstream and downstream impacts that are created by this pace and trend of digitalization. And there are certainly, taking further from that, there are three trends that are happening that are of interest to startups today, those who are in the innovation economy. The center of gravity of tech, which used to be in a few countries and centered around a few corporations, a few companies, is moving to open source systems, to younger and younger startups that are disrupting the normal. And these two trends are in turn capitalizing on the broader trend of increased digitization and faster digitization. Our Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji, in 2021, from the ramparts of the Red Fort, addressing the nation, spoke about how he saw the future. And he called the coming decade the Techade, a decade of technology opportunities. And in a lot of ways, he was exhorting young Indians, and that call is true for youngsters everywhere in the world, that this decade, and in India's context, the India decade, will be built by, architected by, designed by, innovated by the determination, energy, creativity of young startups around the country and around the world. Innovation, apart from being an exciting thing for those in the space, for those in government, those who look at the economy in broader terms, is a very, very important, vital piece of the transformation that is underway of global economies and global trade. In India's case in itself, I want to share with you, the digital economy has gone from 4 to 4.5% in 2014 of the total GDP to 11% of the total GDP today. And we expect the digital economy piece to be over 20% of our GDP by 2026. So this is not just about an abstract conversation about innovation or technology. It is becoming centerpiece to how global economies and economies of countries like India and other countries are being reshaped and redrawn. At the heart of our economies looking into the future will be digital economy, which will be innovation. And as much as innovation represents in its base form innovation and creativity, it also represents economic opportunity and it represents governance. On India's part, like I said, India is certainly a great case study for how political leadership of our Prime Minister, his vision, his almost all-in commitment to technology way back in 2015 has caused this deep transformation at the economy, deep transformation of governance, deep transformation of people's lives. Debjani was referring to a beautiful poem sent to her by a young student, and I certainly want to share this story with you as a minister about the power of technology and how it is transforming real lives and real citizens' lives in our country. A few months ago, I traveled to the distant northeast of India, and usually I was to visit a district, and the usual way to get there was through a helicopter ride, and because it was a bad weather day, I decided to drive. From the state capital to this district took me 9 hours by road. Is it that remote? And the next day morning, when I met with the community of people from that district and the village, the first thing I was told was that I was the first minister to visit that district in the last 65 years. So that's how remote it was. But when I asked them, how many of you have digital identity? The entire room went. I said, how many of you get all your benefits and subsidies delivered to you directly in your bank account and pinged on your phone? The entire room. So the normal narrative around exclusion, which is usually associated with technology and digitization, is exactly the inverse in India. And technology and innovation is actually beginning to make a dramatic inclusion of people who were kept out of governance, out of the reach of governance for several decades. And there was this old narrative about India, which I want to share with my foreign visitor friends, which was that because we were a large democracy, that there was a certain dysfunctionality in governance, and when 100 rupees left the central capital of Delhi, only a 15 rupees reached the beneficiary, and there was 85 rupees of intermediation and leakage because of the distance of the citizen from the capital or from the source of the money. And today, using technology architected by startups and the innovation ecosystem in general, monies that go from the government meant for a citizen reach the citizen directly in their account without leakage, with absolute responsiveness and speed. That is the power of technology that India is now demonstrating and showcasing to the world. I will not take too much more of your time. I certainly want to welcome you again to my home of Bengaluru. I wish you a very good stay. I wish you constructive conversations and discourse around the future of tech, the future of innovation in general. And I can certainly say we are living in very, very exciting times if you are a participant in this innovation ecosystem and the innovation economy. And I think if you think that we have come to some critical mass today, I would hasten to point out to you that I think we are at the early stages of what promises to be a very, very exciting decade of innovation and opportunity for youngsters all over the world. Thank you. Jai Hind. Namaste.